At 3 a.m. in the Red Sea, beneath the quiet transit of billion-dollar container ships, an unseen danger begins to unfold. From the contested shoreline of the Arabian Peninsula, 22 missiles and one-way attack drones are launched in a single coordinated wave. Their target is a lone American destroyer, USS Laboon. The U.S. Navy now has just 4 minutes and 30 seconds to regain control of the situation. When 22 threats are closing in at once at extreme speed, how can a single warship possibly survive? And more importantly, is it really fighting alone? The Bab el-Mandeb Strait is far more than a narrow waterway. It is one of the world's most vital economic lifelines. Around 12% of globally seaborne oil passes through this corridor, along with nearly 15% of all maritime trade, representing annual commerce worth more than $1 trillion. Inside the Combat Information Center, or CIC, aboard USS Laboon, an Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyer, the atmosphere is intensely focused. It is not the silence of rest, but the silence of absolute concentration. More than 20 officers and sailors are at their stations, only a portion of the ship's crew of over 300, all engaged in Operation Prosperity Guardian. Their mission is to protect freedom of navigation, a core principle of maritime law, against modern asymmetric threats. USS Laboon, DDG-58, operates with the Aegis Baseline 9C1 combat system and an upgraded spy radar integrated into that network. As a key node in Carrier Strike Group 2, the ship exchanges fleet-wide targeting data through Link 16 and cooperative engagement capability. The Tactical Action Officer monitors one unified battlespace picture built from every sensor in the area. Then the silence breaks. From a concealed launch site along the coast, a command is issued. In an instant, a saturation attack begins, a deliberate strike package designed to overload a defender with more targets than it can comfortably handle in the time available. From the Yemeni coastline, with support and guidance attributed to Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Quds Force, a carefully prepared assault moves into action. 14 unmanned aerial vehicles enter the air, including 8 one-way attack platforms and 6 decoys. Alongside them are 6 anti-ship cruise missiles, 4 subsonic sea-skimming missiles, and 2 faster variants. Added to that are 2 Fateh-class anti-ship ballistic missiles. Everything is launched almost at once. Inside the CIC, Aegis displays capable of tracking and presenting over 1,000 separate contacts begin to fill with red hostile symbols. This is exactly how saturation doctrine works. Overwhelm the defender with numbers, force difficult choices, and try to create hesitation. The idea is simple and ruthless. Quantity can become a weapon in itself. But the Navy's response process had already started before those symbols even appeared. Only 15 seconds after booster ignition, satellites in the space-based infrared system, positioned in geosynchronous orbit roughly 22,000 miles above Earth, detect the bright launch signatures against the cooler background below. That data is immediately relayed to ground stations, processed, and shared across the Link 16 network. At the same time, an E-2D Advanced Hawkeye airborne early warning aircraft at 25,000 feet detects the lower flying threats with its powerful APY-9 radar, which can track low observable drones at ranges beyond 300 nautical miles. Space-based data and airborne surveillance are fused together, and advanced combat system algorithms begin sorting the picture in real time. Almost instantly, the conclusion is clear. The 2 anti-ship ballistic missiles are the highest priority threats. On the main tactical display, the threat picture becomes unmistakable. Vectors are converging on Laboon from different directions and altitudes. One group consists of Shahed 136 type drones moving slowly at about 115 knots and flying just 50 feet above the surface, guided by GPS toward the ship. Their main purpose is to draw fire and consume valuable interceptors. Another group includes C-802 anti-ship missiles racing in at around Mach 0.9, skimming only 10 meters above the water, with active radar seekers prepared to acquire the target in the final phase. The most dangerous group is the ballistic threat, 2 anti-ship ballistic missiles descending from altitudes that can reach 100 kilometers and diving at speeds beyond Mach 3. Inside the command center, the tension rises, not because of panic, but because every second now matters. 22 threats are arriving inside a 2-minute window. Resources must be allocated with precision. Should the ship commit high-value SM-3 Block 2A interceptors against the ballistic missiles while they are still outside the atmosphere, or preserve missile inventory for the incoming swarm of cruise missiles and drones? A countdown appears on the display. Time to first impact. 4 minutes, 30 seconds. The attackers are counting on saturation to break Aegis, but they have overlooked a critical reality. Laboon is not fighting as a single ship, it is fighting as part of a network. And in modern warfare, the side that detects, processes, and shares information faster often defeats the side with the larger volley. The tactic itself is classic. Send a large wave of low-cost decoys and lower-end threats to create confusion, while more capable weapons hide within the clutter. In this approach, nearly 70% of the first wave may be expendable. But to a fully networked Aegis system connected through cooperative engagement capability, clutter is not confusion. It is simply more data to classify. At 3:05 local time, the launch is already detected by infrared satellites and the E-2D Hawkeye. The data is fused immediately. Aegis algorithms begin ranking each target by danger level. Anti-ship ballistic missiles first, then the fastest cruise missile threats, then subsonic anti-ship missiles, and finally UAVs. Within only 10 seconds of launch, Laboon's CIC has a full tactical picture and an engagement plan. The element of surprise is gone. Link 16 does more than share targeting information. It also enables launch on remote capability, allowing another platform to fire using targeting data from a different sensor. That means a strike fighter can engage a target even if the target lies beyond the fighter's own radar horizon, because the fleet is effectively seeing together. Now the long-range layer activates. The two anti-ship ballistic missiles, now in mid-course and moving at roughly 4 kilometers per second, are the most urgent danger. The tactical action officer gives the command in a calm, controlled tone. Engage ballistic targets. Fire SM-3. 2 Standard Missile 3, Block 2, A interceptors launch into the night. They rise vertically, climbing to about 150 kilometers and leaving the atmosphere behind. Their third stage separates, releasing the lightweight exo-atmospheric projectile, or LEAP, kill vehicle. Using its own thrusters, LEAP steers precisely toward the intercept point. The collision happens at a relative speed greater than 10 kilometers per second, with no explosive warhead required. 3, 2, 1. On the Aegis display, the highest priority threat disappears roughly 600 kilometers away. According to Missile Defense Agency test data, the SM-3 has demonstrated an interception success rate above 80% in live-fire scenarios. With the ballistic danger removed, the next layer takes over. 4 cruise missiles and 6 fast UAVs are now in mid-flight, closing from 50 to 100 kilometers. On the flight deck of USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, steam catapults launch fully armed fighters in rapid rhythm, one every 30 seconds. 4 FA-18E Super Hornets are already airborne, each equipped with APG-79 AESA radar and carrying up to 12 AIM-120D AMRAAM missiles, weapons with effective reach beyond 100 nautical miles. Targeting information is sent directly through the Hawkeye and the Cooperative Engagement Network. The Super Hornet pilots keep radar silence, receiving firing data from the broader fleet picture. 10 AMRAAMs are launched, and in the final seconds of flight, their own active seekers take over. On the tactical screen, 10 more red symbols disappear at roughly 80 kilometers. One pilot's voice comes over the secure network. "It's not my radar, it's the fleet's. I'm seeing through the Hawkeye from 200 miles away." But the engagement is still not finished. The remaining UAVs press inside 20 kilometers. Laboon's AN/SLQ-32 electronic warfare system begins disrupting GPS reception and data links. Within its effective radius, more than half of the remaining drones lose control and fall into the sea. Immediately after the electronic attack, additional Mark 41 vertical launch cells open. This time the ship fires RIM-162 evolved Sea Sparrow missiles. Traveling at around Mach 4 and using thrust vector control, the ESSM can pull extremely sharp maneuvers to track fast, evasive targets. 4 missiles launch in quick succession, each assigned to a separate threat. The swarm is being dismantled layer by layer, but in naval combat, almost is never good enough. 2 UAVs, by sheer chance, slip through every outer ring of defense. They are now in the terminal phase, only 300 meters away and diving toward the ship. This is where the last line of protection takes over. The Phalanx C IWS Block 1B comes alive. This autonomous 20mm Gatling gun locks onto the first target at around 1.5 kilometers. No human input is needed. The system calculates trajectory, speed, and intercept point in fractions of a second. The 6 barrels begin to spin, building from a low mechanical hum into a high-pitched roar as the weapon reaches 4,500 rounds per minute. Then it fires. A dense stream of armor-piercing 20mm rounds reaches out toward the first drone. Tracer rounds mark the path like a bright line in the dark. The UAV is not merely struck, it is torn apart in an instant. In less than half a second, the mount pivots, acquires the second drone, and fires again. The final target breaks apart into fragments that fall harmlessly into the water. A calm voice fills the CIC. All threats neutralized, 0 hits. The engagement chain is complete. 22 threats engaged, 22 destroyed. A 100% intercept outcome, defense phase complete. Mission transitions immediately to strike operations. The Super Hornets shift from fleet air defense to suppression of enemy air defenses. Using electronic intelligence gathered from onboard systems, pilots identify the source of the launches along the Hodeidah coast. The results point to 3 transporter launcher vehicles and 2 UAV control sites. Now the source of the attack must be removed. The order for a retaliatory strike is issued. 8 GBU-38 Joint Direct Attack munitions are released from the Hornets. At the same time, 4 AGM-88E Advanced Anti-Radiation Guided Missiles are fired. These weapons do not track heat or visual images. They home in on radar emissions, locking onto the electronic signature of air defense systems used to shield the launch positions. From Laboon's deck, sailors can see distant flashes along the horizon. In less than 10 minutes from the failure of the original attack, the launch infrastructure is systematically hit and disabled. This is not only a victory of hardware, it is a victory of doctrine, coordination, and information dominance. The attackers were not facing a single ship. They were facing a distributed combat network with shared awareness. The moment they launched, they revealed themselves to space-based and airborne sensors, and that exposure ultimately determined the outcome. For Laboon's crew and Eisenhower's air wing, it was another demanding watch in the Red Sea, protecting one of the most important corridors in global trade. The tactical lesson is unmistakable. In 21st century warfare, information dominance enabled by systems like Link 16 and cooperative targeting networks can outweigh raw mechanical force. This kind of network does more than shield warships. It helps secure the arteries of the global economy. And above all, this is a tribute to the people behind the technology, the men and women who turned some of the world's most advanced machines into a disciplined, seamless system under extreme pressure. In the next video, we'll bring you more updates and key developments involving the US military. If there's a specific event, platform, or new weapon system you want covered, leave a comment and subscribe so you don't miss the next analysis.